Hey, what's up everybody? This is Corepunk501 and today I want to continue going over the Corepunk weapon masteries for all of the Corepunk classes. And today I want to go over the Cleric mastery for the Paladin. Clerics are support heroes who can still deal a lot of damage in a melee fight. Cleric's weapons are dual maces and the energy of the light, which the latter they use for healing and shielding allies. The effect of all abilities these heroes use while they're in a fight is increased. So first off, we have the special ability. When attacking, the cleric gets and stacks charges, which empower their abilities by 2%. Charges stack up to 5 times and are automatically reset when any of your abilities are used. Stack charges will be reset if the special ability is activated, and basic attacks will then deal additional magic damage for 10 seconds. So even though this is explained a little bit weirdly, I think what this is actually doing is when you auto attack, every auto attack, you start gaining these stacks, which increase the power of your abilities by 2% up to 5 stacks. And when you use an ability, all of these stacks are then used up on that ability. But then you can also save up these stacks and use the special ability itself, which will then give you a magic damage proc on your melee attacks for 10 seconds. So every melee attack will deal additional magic damage. So it kind of has 2 effects on this special ability. And depending on how quick you can auto attack enemies, there's a possibility that you could keep the activatable part, so dealing additional magic damage on basic attacks. There's a possibility you could keep that up 100% of the time, and then in between that, keep getting that additional power to your ability usage. So next we have our Q ability. The cleric attacks an enemy with their weapon and deals physical damage. After the strike, a small energy zone is created around the enemy in which the cleric's allies gain periodic healing. So pretty much healing over time when they're in that energy zone. The ability can be recast if the cleric is in the energy zone, and then when it's recast, the zone explodes, dealing magic damage to enemies, and then the zone disappears when you recast it and blow it up. Now it's kind of a straightforward ability that has kind of multiple stages to the ability. So first you strike the enemy dealing physical damage, then it creates this energy zone or energy field around the enemy. Now I'm not certain if this field just stays wherever you hit the enemy at. So you hit an enemy, then a field drops below the enemy, and if the enemy moves away, it won't stay with them. Or there's a possibility that when you hit the enemy, this field is created that follows the enemy around. So it's kind of like a debuff on the enemy and the field stays on that enemy. Not sure which way that is, but once that field is created, if allies stand in it, they keep getting healing over time while in it, and then if the cleric themselves are in it, they can recast it, which will blow it up, dealing magic damage to any enemies in that zone. So definitely has a lot of skill with this ability depending on how the zone itself works. Next up, we have our W ability. The cleric charges their weapon and releases a light wave in front of them, which deals magic damage and debuffs an enemy, reducing their armor and magic resistance. A target is also rooted for 1.5 seconds. So this is just a big frontal AoE that also debuffs enemies. So as it being a big frontal cone, this will hit multiple enemies, or it can hit multiple enemies, and then it will reduce their armor and magic resistance. So it essentially causes them to take additional damage from pretty much any other attack. And then it says a target is also rooted for 1.5 seconds. Now I'm not certain if this is meaning that just a single target from this wave is rooted and maybe it chooses the first one hit, or if it's just a weird explanation and everything hit is rooted. I'm assuming because it's a 1.5 second root, which is pretty long, that it's probably just one enemy, most likely the first enemy hit, that will be rooted. So then we have our E ability. The cleric shields themselves or an ally. The shield absorbs all incoming damage. If the shield has more than 1 strength point upon its expiration, it triggers a magic explosion in a range of 2.5 meters around the hero. All enemies in the range of the explosion are stunned. So again, another ability with multiple stages and multiple effects that has a lot of skill to choose what you want to do with it. So essentially it's just a shield for you or your ally, and if that shield has health left on the shield, so say you put the shield on somebody and for an example it shields 1,000 damage. If there is any shielding left when it expires, it will then deal this AoE explosion that deals damage and stuns all enemies caught in that explosion. And I could definitely see trying to create a build that helps scale this shield so you can always get the shield to proc, because a damage explosion that also stuns all enemies hit by it for 2.5 seconds is pretty massive. That can be a really strong AoE stun, especially if you're, say, in large PvP content. You could very easily turn the tide of a battle by stunning a large amount of enemies with one ability. And then finally, we have our R ability. For 3 seconds, the cleric surrounds themselves with an aura, which heals allies, increases the cleric's movement speed, and reduces incoming damage. While the aura is active, the cleric can basic attack but is not able to use abilities. So essentially, this is a big AoE heal that you activate that also is going to make you take a lot less damage and give you increased movement speed. So this is definitely something that is only going to be used as a big defensive ability. So you can pop this, which will heal your allies, then give you that movement speed so you're able to follow your allies around or get to your allies much more easily. And then it's also going to be reducing damage. Now, I'm not sure if this reduces only the cleric's damage or if it will also reduce the damage your allies take as well. That can be a pretty big difference, because if it reduces the damage that your allies take, this makes this a much stronger support ability. But either way, it's going to be a really strong survivability ability for group play and keeping yourself alive. Say if you're getting bursted down in an arena or something, you could easily pop this, get reduced damage, and then be able to run away from enemies much quicker. So this is a very, very strong survivability ability. And also, you're still able to auto attack, so you're still able to put out some damage, which will also mix well with your special ability, because you'll be able to be gaining those special ability stacks while being much tankier and healing your allies. So that is the entire kit for the Cleric weapon mastery for the Paladin. So subscribe if you want to see more Corepunk or other MMO videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about the Cleric weapon mastery, and thanks for watching.